Exodus chapter 14 introduction. Well, this is one of those stories that we have seen in movies depicted more than once in different kinds of movies throughout the years. That is the crossing of the Red Sea. Now, I've already said that depending on who you're speaking to, it's going to the Red Sea, the Red Sea, that sea, kind of just a swamp that they walk through, all those kinds of stuff. But anyhow, I think when in the study time we will see a little bit about this ideas of swamps and all of those kinds of things. And I already told the joke about the boy going back from Sunday school when his mother said, the Sunday school teacher told him that the water was this deep, kind of, and then the boy, wow, what a miracle that all of Pharaoh's army was drowned in that bit of water. But anyhow, so yes, it's again with stories that we know so well, we tend to basically just like fly over them, and we don't really get into the story, and we have this idea in our head of everything that happened. Now, I hope in the teaching part, maybe a few things more will come out. Especially one thing that's going to come out, or what I want to like in here even already focus a little bit on, is the fact that in the previous chapter, God didn't send them the easy way, so they're not in a fight. Now, and so they went the long way. But now in this chapter, the long way is going to lead to a fight. And not just any fight, but a fight with, or at least a possible fight with the superpower of the day. Doesn't that kind of contradict the whole idea of not letting them go that way? So we will look in the teaching part at why God did this. What was the wisdom in? Was it correct? Was it the correct thing to do? So start off with God telling him how they're supposed to go, right? And then after that, Pharaoh and his people's like, okay, well, the Jews left. Oh, well, no, right? That's news, right? Kind of, you let them go. We need to get them back. And so they set after him. And as they did that, God hardened. So again, Pharaoh first made the choice to go back out and hunt them down and reel them in. Then only did God harden the hearts. Right. So he took the 600 men, the best, the crack, the best soldiers of the day, and on the chariots, understandably, the crack force, and they set off after them. And now the Egyptians were catching up to the Jews, understandably, with their horses and the chariots and everything. Sure, they're going to catch up. And I mean, 1.5 million people or 1 million odd people, they walk kind of not very fast. And with all the stuff they had, man, that would have been one slow moving group of people. So catching up would have been pretty easy. And being able to see where they went, I mean, how difficult would that be? They would have left such a big set of movement prints, to put it. I can't even say footprints, but movement prints with all this stuff. So yeah, then they got first to the sea, Pharaoh behind them, then the cloud, and the Pharaoh went and stood in between, so they couldn't catch up to. Pharaoh could catch up to the people. The people were very angry, and they're like, "Why did you let us out of here? Now we're all going to die. Just as that's why you brought us out to die here in the wilderness," kind of idea, right? Groaning without anything even, right? Just imagine if they had to face a war, how that would have sounded. Not even a face of war yet, and they're already groaning as if it's the end of it all. And that after seeing all those miracles. But yeah, And Moses praying, and then God says, "No, don't worry, just go straight and hold out your hand, staff, rod, and we see that happening." Then the strong wind blowing and parted, right? It didn't just part to one side, because they're going to walk through and they're going to have water on both sides. It's not like just parting to one side, it's to both sides. Okay, that's scientific theory, because if that's scientific theory of this water blowing, basically the water just over to one side, and the other side is kind of, it contradicts this, because there were water on both sides. So they went through. Pharaoh and these guys could then follow. They followed, and as they were following, they got stuck in the mud. And then the others exit on the other side. God had them let the water come down, hold up his hand. The water came down. All of Pharaoh's army were drowned, and they could see ultimately in the bodies wash up on the other shore. Okay, that's not really going to work in a marsh or in a swamp. That's not. It doesn't work like that in a swamp. If you've been in a swamp, that's the idea of a swamp. It's not a deep thing, anyhow, or a reed, little bit of water kind of idea. So yeah, and that is ultimately how all Pharaoh's men and Pharaoh himself, they're all going to die. And God saved them from the hands of the Egyptians. And they saw them dead on their side. And they saw, again, the great power of God in setting them free, fully free now. Because even the oppressor is now kind of dead, and his firstborn son is kind of dead. So not kind of, they're dead. And so yes, but I will speak a lot more about that and the wisdom of that in the geopolitical sense and importance of the day. So last evening here in Shillong, we went on a very beautiful trip today to the wettest place on earth. Praise God for that. And it didn't rain. As far as I know, it rained here when we left, but it didn't rain there. That was nice. Otherwise, we couldn't have recorded in the end. And that sound, by the way, I don't know how well you hear. That is the buses that make that sound. So if you hear that it's a bus coming or it's stopping, calling people to come and get on the bus, kind of idea. So enjoy the view here, the beautiful night view of Shillong. Okay, there's still some Diwali crackers going off. Okay, it's in the balcony. Let me just move to the front. And then maybe, so there's, you can't see now the pine trees on the side, it's night, and then the city in the front. So Shillong, the capital of Meghalaya, to just remind you where Shillong is. Northeast India. Where we went today, the wettest place on earth, is not very far from Bangladesh. You could see Bangladesh lights in the distance. All from another spot, that is. Yeah, that is Shillong for you. Oh, just wait, if I'm in time. You can see some crackers still, some fireworks still going off over there. Okay, well, with that fireworks, praise God, and it's time to move a little bit straighter. Stop and get ready to leave tomorrow morning at 4 o'clock. Be up at 3. For our next place, God willing, as all.